ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments I will have a Q&A, een nagesprek, with the director of the picture and Nahel, one of the main characters. So if you have to leave, please do it as fast as possible, as soon as possible, so we can start the conversation as soon as possible. And during the conversation, there will be also room for your questions. So I will just give people who want to leave the room just a few seconds to do it, and then we will start the conversation very soon. So if you leave, you understand you will miss the conversation, yeah? Okay. So, may I have the director of the movie, Thomas Vroege, and Nahel here to join me here. Nahel and Thomas, would you please come here? Please have a seat. That's your microphone, Nahel, that's your microphone, and I put some water over there for you. So please use your microphone. I will have a conversation for about 25 minutes. The first 10 minutes, we will have a conversation about some extra stuff for which we didn't maybe see in the picture. And after that, I will give the audience the room to ask some questions. Nahel, let's start with you.
Yeah, welcome.
How are you?
I'm fine, good.
You're
and you?
fine. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Would you please tell us something about, very briefly, about your journey to Holland? When and how did you, let's say, ended up with us here?
So, first I was living in Syria, and yeah, after I got in trouble, as you saw now, I just decided to leave, and my journey, I was in Turkey after that. I moved to Turkey. I stayed there for like 2.5 years. And
2.5 years, yeah. And in which city or cities did you stay the most?
No, actually, I stayed in one city. It's called Skenderon. Oh. So yeah, it's nearby the border of Syria. So it's around 70 kilometers or more, something like that. So my journey starts from Turkey by boat to Greece, to one island. Yeah. And then from there to Athens, and then it starts to Macedonia, Serbia, Croatia, and Hungary. And yeah, after that to Austria, and then from Austria to Netherlands. But first we should cross the borders, each border walking. But between, like, for example, the border from Macedonia to the border for Serbia, we just go by transportation, so whatever train, buses, it's,
And when you arrived in Holland, which year was it?
It was 2015, October.
And in which city did you arrive?
Actually, I first arrived to one city. I don't remember the name, but it was just because of the train. It was there, not to Amsterdam, because I went to Germany. So one city, it's nearby Germany. But after that, sorry?
Enschede, maybe?
I have no idea. It was the first time, and the Dutch names, it's strange, so that's why I didn't recognize.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Yes,
and then?
After that, I just moved between 7 camps. Yeah. So from Terapol first, and then to then to Assen.
Assen, yeah.
To Venhausen, Humensoord.
Humensoord. You was in Humensoord.
Yeah, that
in Nijmegen. In this horrible situation, with the mud and rain and everything.
3,000 people there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were 3,000.
And now where are you staying right now?
Right now in Leiden.
In Leiden?
Yeah, I got my room and like student room, and I live there, yeah.
Okay. Maybe I can ask you later about what you do right now and what your plans are for the future. But Thomas, first of all, congratulations with your picture. Very congratulations. Give him a big applause one more time. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you. This was your first feature documentary, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you started with the main question of the picture was about the role of media. media aspect of this war. Why did you choose that aspect?
Well, I don't really, I'm not so sure whether it's the media. What I wanted to do is, and this is part of the prologue of the film, I wanted to pose a question about how we tend to tell stories to each other and how storytelling can also influence the way that we read history. And this is a message that you can take in while watching the rest of the movie, or you can just put it aside. But for me it was important because since it's a conflict that is so highly influenced by so many parties that have a special interest to a certain outcome, that for me it was not so much important to emphasize that, because we already know that, but let's say the layer that is on top of that.
Exactly.
How and why can those parties actually influence the way that we tell stories? What is the nature of human beings? How do we tend to tell stories to each other? And this was important to mention as a prologue.
I see. But I can imagine that when you tell your let's say producer or other people to start a movie, a documentary with a prologue about telling stories, they say, "Come on, Thomas, come on, there is a war over there. You know, let's start with the war and not talking about the media stuff about the storytelling." Am I right or
no? Not really. No, maybe more.
Drop the subject.
Okay.
Drop the subject. No, I was wrong. Okay. How did you get in touch with Nahel and your other main characters?
Well, one of them, Isa, the bald man.
Yeah, the
I knew before because I made 2 short documentaries with him.
That's right.
One is called 9 Days from My Window in Aleppo, and the other one is Greetings from Aleppo. And those were 2 films that we made from 2015 onwards. And the first one deals with the moment that there's material also in this feature. The moment that actually the peaceful demonstration turn into an armed fight. And this is what Isa witnesses from his window.
And how did you get in touch with him and the other characters?
Well, afterwards, what's important to finish this. So I made those 2 films, and we got a lot of praise and also criticism for those films, because it's a one-sided perspective. This is through the eyes of one man. And of course, I got into the conflict more and I knew more. And he is from Armenian descent, Christian Armenian descent. And this is very important to understand his position and also his take on the revolution. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a longer film that was more about, let's say, the different positions that you could take and could have in the revolution or the civil war, and based on your background, your socioeconomic position, but also your religious position, and so that's how I started. How I started this film, and then this was the basic research that I had to do. Of course, I wanted somebody who fought for the rebels, for the Free Syrian Army. I wanted somebody who was, in some way also principally against the idea of the revolution, and so I had to find different characters that fitted the narrative,
covered in the different aspects.
And I'm not sure how I found you. Was through a common friend. Ziad. Who did some research for our film.
So he lives here, and Farhad, he lives in Holland as well. Am I right?
Yeah.
And Isa, where does he live?
He lives in Aleppo.
In Aleppo, he's back there.
He's back in Aleppo.
And your other character, I forgot his name.
Ahmad,
where does he live?
He's also in Holland.
In Holland, okay. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but Farhad, it sounds like a non-Arabic name. I thought he's maybe Kurdish.
He's Kurdish, He's Kurdish,
I see. And one more question: why are there no women in the movie?
Well, there is actually a woman in the film. There's a very important role for a woman. So who's the singer of all the songs?
Yeah, you're right.
It's an important character. No, but I understand.
But you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I'm not so sure if I can give a really good answer to this one, but I tried to do it. I mean, for me, it was important to to find stories that were as closely connected to the front line as possible. And fortunately or unfortunately, most of the time, these are men. And as you know as well, I mean, also in the demonstrations, most of the people are men. And it doesn't mean that I could have tried harder to find women. And I also spoke to a lot of women for the research of this film. But you also, as a documentary maker, you try, as you said, you try to cover certain aspects, and people need to fit into that narrative in some kind of way. And
fair enough. Fair enough.
It's. I mean, I can understand the criticism, but this is how it
was just a question.
Yeah.
It was just a question.
No, but it's fair enough. Yeah.
Nahel, if I ask you about the role of women in the fight, in the struggle, can you please tell us something about that? Because also in the archive stock material footage. Thank you very much. So please tell us something about the role of the woman in the struggle.
Okay, so let's talk in general in the revolution. Because when it's more with the weapons and armies and stuff like that, the women, they don't have that really big attention there, because they are hidden, they just work as medical staff and stuff like that, and this kind of thing, they just left it. They can't follow it because it's a little bit hard for them there.
Excuse me, so it's not like, for example, the Kurdish fighters, the Peshmerga, where we see a lot of Kurdish women fighters. It's not in Syria like Arab fighters.
No, okay. It's only by the Kurdish side, because in the another side, it's we have, let's say, in Syria, we are let's say we groups, we say Kurdish and the another groups by the religions or stuff like that. But the Kurdish side is really separate. The another groups are all together.
I see.
So, but it's not that really the woman. The woman was in the revolution. It was really in the demonstrations and stuff like that. It was they have a lot of women, especially in my group, in my organization, it was a lot. So they do have a lot in Syria. But after that, when it's a war and military and stuff like that, because in general in Syria we don't have women military. We have just maybe small groups in the regime military there. So that's why.
I will have only one question for you. So if you want to ask some question, Mara, she's standing over there. She will come to you with a microphone, and as you can understand, she will not give away the microphone. So please speak in her microphone as she holds the microphone in her hand. One of the things I saw in the picture was you are emphasizing these two concepts, revolution or war. And you say, I want to emphasize it's a revolution and not a war. Why is that? Why do you think, why is it so important for you to take it to such a serious level?
So actually this is my main point. I have 2 points. It's really main points. Maybe that's why I'm in this movie. The first point, it's all the people, they know there's a war in Syria, but they don't know what's before that war. So the important point is it was a revolution, and if we want to fix that war, we should look before. And when we see it, it's revolution. We have revolution for what? It's for reason, for human rights. So that's why if we want to fix the war in Syria, we should look back and we see the revolution, and then we can fix it. So this is one really main point, and I'm really sad when I hear from people it's only war. Okay, I understand it became a war, but before that it was a revolution. We have a right. We were fighting for something we really need. And another point, it's sorry.
No, please finish up.
And another point, it's here they said something I'm not really agree with, the another two characters, Isa and Farhad. It's about the revolution also became more religious revolution.
Yes, it was hijacked by the Islamic parties.
That's also I'm not agree with, because in some points, yeah, that's true. But still, a lot of groups which like are really like, as I said, my organization, like it's all like we are all from all from all religions, and we were all together, and we were all just we don't ask actually.
Yeah.
But the government played on something to make more split, to just spill them,
Yeah.
to spill it them.
Yeah, to separate them.
Separate
Yeah.
Exactly.
To divide them. Yeah. Like you are Muslims, you are Christian, you are Kurdish.
That's what they did.
Okay.
That's what they did.
Can I add one thing?
You add one thing, and then I will go to the audience.
I would like to say that for me, it tells a lot about your position, and also the fact that you are a real revolutionary. And if there were more people like you in Syria that actually were supported by, well, the West or whoever could have supported the revolution, maybe that succeeded. And I think the beautiful thing about Nahel, also his role in the film, is that you don't want to talk about a civil war, because it's also emphasizing the fact that something fails. And for a revolutionary, of course, I mean, we all know that if you start a revolution, that out of 100 revolutions, 99 will fail. And there will always be young people that start a revolution again. And some may call it naive, but this is the idealistic dream and the dream for the future that a real revolutionary has. And that's, I think, the beauty of Nahel.
Yeah, Nahel, I know everything about the revolution. I'm from Iran. I've been there.
Exactly.
I've been there. Yeah, man. Okay. So Mara, it's your time. So I would like to see some hands in there. Otherwise, I got a lot of more questions over there. Yeah. And wait for yes.
Yeah. You will hold it.
Yeah, I hou vast.
Sorry. Okay, wait.
Please ask your question.
What I really want to ask. I'm from Aleppo as well.
Yes.
And today we see hundreds of books about Syria, documentaries like trashing every day and talking about Syria and this kind of stuff. And it kind of bothers me. I really want to know what was the aim behind your documentary and why Syria and why especially Aleppo.
Thank you. So the aim, the goal.
Well, for me, I briefly referred to it. I mean, I made two films from one perspective already, and for me it was important to understand as an outsider what happened in the city within a very specific time frame. So around the moment that, some argue it was from the beginning, but actually the moment that the armed groups came to Aleppo. This is a very important moment in the film. I wanted to understand what people were there already in Aleppo fighting for the good cause, and how many parties came from the outside to influence the revolution, to hijack it. So actually what happened there.
So it was because of the first...
And that's why it was important to me to include people from different neighborhoods, but also from different religious descents, and to understand what happened in that specific moment. Also the moment, I think that this was the only moment that intervention from the outside could have worked. And that wasn't actually the aim for me, very specific on Aleppo, what happened there on that very moment.
Okay. Questions? Okay, Nahel, then I can ask you another question. As we saw, one of the things in the picture was about the media, about the terminology, whether you use this, you say it's a war, it's a revolution. When you were in Syria, which media did you use to get information?
Actually, all the medias, they have their own agenda. So you can't trust just one channel, So you just see, look, like for one, they say, like, for example, it's happened for me. Like I was watching TV, the news, and one, Al Arabiya, they said, like
Al Arabiya, Al Arabiya, they are from Abu Dhabi?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yes.
Saudi Arabia,
yeah. Okay.
They said, like, for example, this group, it was one group of Free Syrian.
Yeah.
So Free Syrian group, so Free Army.
Yeah.
And they said it's like the killers. And they killed like around 100 persons, let's say. And we switched to another one, it's like Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
They said the Free Syrian Army, they have killed 10 persons. You know, so
Okay.
you don't know, but
Yeah.
you know at the end there is
Yeah.
something fight there.
Yeah.
There is fight in this place, and you know there are people killed, but you don't know how many.
Yeah.
So this
but
is what's
you know,
good.
Nahel, you know, and
We
I
know from the street.
No, what you and I know, we know Al Jazeera is from Qatar.
Exactly. Yeah.
That means that they are against Assad.
Both, and Saudi Arabia as well. They are
Yeah.
against Assad, but
Yeah.
the groups there, which they were talking about,
Yeah.
maybe this group belong to Qatar, or they got
Yeah.
supported from
Yeah.
this Qatar, from this country, or from that country, or against ideas maybe.
I see.
So that's why.
Which media do you use right now in Holland, and which media can you advise us, people who don't speak or read Arabic? Which one would you advise us?
Actually, yeah, I told you I don't trust the media, so I just advise the people to just look to couple of media, you know, media
Okay,
channels.
which
or
media do
internet.
you use?
Like, for example, this is the most famous in
Yeah.
Syria. Let's say they just covered a lot, like Al Jazeera, Al Arabiya,
Yeah.
and you have also BBC.
Yeah.
So you know, it's from couple of
CNN?
agendas. Sorry,
CNN? Do you?
CNN not that much in Syria.
Okay.
They are, but I mean the Arabic version. So
Yeah, Syria.
So that's why, like, yeah, it depends. You have all, but yeah, I just advise for just watch couple of media channels, and then you got the results. You know, but you don't trust anyone, and just don't watch one and say, yeah, that's the truth. That's what's happening there.
Yeah.
Because
What I also understood from Farhad, I don't know if it also worked for you, is that he was part of many Facebook groups that, of course, many people were publishing information, but the information could only stay on the page when 10 or more people confirmed the news, so independent of each other. So there was sort of a mechanism that was there, and otherwise it had to be removed within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So there was an internal mechanism
Control.
that actually
Yeah.
controlled.
Okay,
this is like secret groups. Yeah, but it's not like really popular, and it's all in Arabic. I'm not sure if there is like English version, but this was for the people who's working in the media, you know, in Syria, on the street. Let's say they are watching, they are looking. So this guy from this neighborhood, that from another one. So they just look all together and got the results, because sometimes you can't go to street and watch what's going on.
By the way, since there are no more questions, so maybe we can have like 5 minutes. There's one question over there. Wacht even op, please wait for Mara.
What moment made you realize that you decided to leave Aleppo?
Actually, the moment was when I got arrested, and after that, when I got my freedom again, and I can't walk normally because of my leg, because they treat me a lot. I can't hear from one ear. So I had like really, let's say mental problems as well, and also I can't stand up for a long time. I just fall on the floor. So that's why I just decided to leave, just to relax a little bit and then return. But after that, it becomes, now it becomes more war, and then like it became a war. Actually, it's not revolution anymore, because the point is the ISIS come in and they start killing the people which I were working with. And I'm Muslim, they are Muslim, we are both Muslim, but they are not, they are only fake. The government let them come in to have something to say, look, we have terrorists here, that's why we are killing the people. But actually, here is ISIS building, they only bombing around that building, they don't bomb them. Even Russian or America or all the planes which like from a couple of months ago, they go to Syria, just because of the terrorists, which we do have, but actually they didn't do anything. They just bombing the normal people.
Yeah, okay. But do you still,
in the documentary, you say that you left Syria and that you wouldn't want to go back to Syria, and you've been in Europe for several years now, and I was just wondering how you feel like you've been treated by the European community, by the Dutch government, by Dutch population, etc.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, actually, just to correct you, it's 2.5 years in Netherlands and 2.5 years in Turkey.
Yeah.
In Netherlands, for the Dutch here, it's like you always will got trouble, because there is something, maybe, they just try to help you as much as they can, but in some points you feel you are not responsible on yourself, and then you feel down because everyone wants to be responsible on himself or on herself. So this is the point, like you feel like you are really controlled by them. Even if you want to travel, for example, like one day to Germany, you can't. You should ask them before a month ago if they accept it or not. This is the rules. And if you just go, then it's illegal. So this is the point which you make you controlled by them, or you are not comfortable. But I'm here because of future. So I don't look for this couple of things because it's only like, this time, and after that it will be all done, because I want to study and start my studying, and I hope it will start next September, and then I will be out of the government system, let's say, and be as normal student, and then I'll be my own. So when you have like a goal, you want to get it, then it's you don't look for these small things, it will be all gone. But
so
this
in general you are
you feel in some points you are like really not the responsible on yourself.
And what are you going to study, by the way?
IT, information technology, ICT in Dutch.
ICT.
Yeah.
Okay, now you lost me. Okay, you're a smart guy. Okay, let's wrap up a little bit. By the way, would you stay afterwards if people want to ask you some questions?
Yeah, sure.
During the
of course,
Oud-Hollandse borrel and that sort of thing. Yeah, okay. Thomas, now we know about his future, but I just wonder, in general, when you are like a writer or an artist or a filmmaker, you read, you just go into your subject. And in one way or another, my experience is that sometimes it brings you somewhere, in a mental level. So ik weet niet hoe ik het in het Engels moet, maar wat heeft deze trip jou gebracht? This whole journey. Now you are engaged in this subject for so many years. What does it bring to you?
Well, but maybe I answer this in a slightly different way, but I'm also thinking still about your question. And while making it, of course, and while making films about a subject that is so highly covered by so many media, you always, of course, have to ask the question, can you actually add something to the debate? And but it's also a question that can sometimes paralyze you. I think it's important, especially now, and I'm really glad that for the second time we have a full crowd here, that people still pay attention to Aleppo and what's happening in Aleppo, because we all know how it works. I mean, Aleppo was highlighted for so many years, for obvious reasons, and after a certain time, people suffer from a certain fatigue. And we hop to another subject. This is how it works. This is quite cynical, but this is how it works. This is all, and I really hope that with this film, of course, I can add something to the debate, but also that people are still paying attention to what's happening there, because I think more than ever now, people also in Aleppo, not only the people here, but especially the millions of people that are still in Syria and in Aleppo, they need our attention, and this is also this is what I'm.
Okay, in a way, you really kind of, you dodged my question, but it's okay. It's your party. Okay. We have one more question over there, and that's the final question.
Yes,
okay, please.
First of all, thank you for sharing your story. And I understand this is a difficult question, but if you could go back, is there anything you would have done differently, or anything like that?
Sorry, what's exactly if I want to go back? So
if you could go back,
could go back,
in
is
time.
There anything you would have done differently?
Look, actually, for going back in this time, I will for sure I will go back, because my country is destroyed and I'm Syrian.
No. He said if you could go back in time, in a time machine, if you look back, he said it's, he covered this himself. He said it's a difficult question. Maybe I can give you.
Understand. So I got it.
So if you have a time machine, and you could go back to this Nahel we saw, all shaven, very nice guy,
Thank you.
What have you done? What have you done differently?
Actually, if I go back in time, I just can know what's maybe will going on after that. Like, you will be focusing more about the revolution. You will be focusing more about how to stop the government to let the people come into your country and to have something to say, like, this is terrorist, which we do have. If I go back, I will try to just protect as much as we can protect and don't make any blood, let's say. If I go back, like, maybe I'll stay in the same mind of the revolution. I will stay to change the country, to change the government, but I will try to do it in another way, or maybe because I just go back in time, then I know maybe there is something, if I did it, it will become after that more people killing and stuff like that. Then I'll just be far on this part.
Yeah.
But I will keep going with the revolution. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for this difficult question. Thank you. Ik ga het een beetje afronden. I'm going to wrap up. By the way, there is one point, you wanted to highlight. It's about the music. Could you something, because the music, you put it on a USB, like a driver, and a drive, hoe zeg je het?
USB stick.
Een USB stick, dankjewel, USB stick. And the 3 of the 4 songs we heard during the movie. They are all sung by Java Manla. She's from Aleppo and she lives here. And what can we do with that?
Well, there were a lot of questions about it because people liked it so much. Yeah. So we wanted to give it to the audience, basically. Yeah. But we wanted to ask you if you want to make a donation to the Syrian organization of the Syrian organization of the Red Cross, and Nahel was also part of that. He worked for the Red Cross in Syria, and so feel free to take a USB stick and feel free to make a donation.
To make a donation, ja. Ja. Dus so I'm going to do it without the mic. Het is niet helemaal voor de gratis, hè? Dus een beetje donatie maken zou ook fijn zijn. So having said that, where are the USBs, by the way? Where can we find them? Mara? Outside. So when we leave the room, yeah, okay. On that note, maybe you can see the next programs we will see. If you are interested in this subject, maybe you will find these subjects as interesting as well. And don't forget the whole stuff about the pay as you like. And Thomas, Nahel, thank you so much for making this film and being here with us tonight. And thank you so much. And Mara, she's the program maker of this house. And of course the technicians. Thank you so much and go in peace. Thank you.
Thank you.